to This is React City. This is the React City podcast. I'm Mark.
I'm Rose.
I'm Nikki.
And this is, well, the React City podcast.
React Cast.
React Cast. I legit forgot it had a name. But, yeah. These actually do surprisingly well. Like, the React Casts have actually started to do better than some of the shows do on bad days of the week.
I mean, yeah, great.
Good, but... it's definitely a doldrum time period that we're going through, but at the same time, things are really gonna pick up very soon.
Yeah, and at once, everything.
Yeah. I kind of dropped the ball on replacing the Sunday, so it was just there's so many options, and yet at the same time, I kept thinking about what was going to happen later to the point that it eventually got to the point it was like too late. You can't really put anything here.
Yeah. So you can't really prejudge it.
No, but. Yeah, let's start off with some big news for the industry. The Funimation merger with Crunchyroll is complete, or at least complete in the ways that it matters to fans. You can now watch everything that's on Funimation on Crunchyroll.
Oh. That means Code Geass.
Does that mean Code Geass?
Somebody was talking about that. They were saying Code Geass was coming over from Funimation.
I don't see it in the C list.
Oh, it was. There was something special about it that the person was telling us about it. I wish I remember who it was.
It is amazing that Code Geass, such a famous show, such an iconic show for anime, is still not easily watched.
Yeah.
But, yeah, the reason I brought up this whole industry merger is, how do you guys feel about Supersites in general? For instance, we had places like Netflix, which are just so dominant that it's just been the public mind's idea of streaming for years after the fall of Blockbuster. How do you guys feel about when a site gets so big that they basically run the industry in an area?
I am happy about a mega site versus I'm very annoyed by every single person and their grandma getting a streaming site. Like there's Disney. I mean, it's big, but we had Hulu for a long time, but it wasn't really that popular and had all the great shows. It had its own shows. Yeah. Netflix was big, and now we're getting so many. DIY is getting its own extra, which I like DIY, but couldn't you just join together with somebody else? Why do you gotta be separate? There's another subscription that I don't want to pay.
That's true. But I don't really mind because in my head, I'm like, okay, more competition equals better consumer experience for me. Because with Netflix, they've had their prices so high for such a long time because there wasn't really anybody that rivaled how big Netflix was with their selection and everything.
How expensive was Netflix?
It got pretty expensive at one point.
Really? Oh, I thought it was $10.
I remember it was on the news a long time ago about people being like, why do they keep increasing their prices and stuff like that. But we weren't in Netflix at that time. But now that they have so much more competition, especially when iTunes came out with their $10 subscription or something. I know it's probably higher now, but it did bring their price down, and it made them come out with more shows at the time. They were coming out with a lot more Netflix originals, and they were doing more to please the consumer because the consumer became king because competition.
Again, yeah. That's a good point, and I did forget about that very important point that big channels does mean monopolies, which means bad for us. Yeah. I guess in the name of convenience, I was hoping for the bigger ones, but you make more sense. It's a better idea to have more little guys so we can get better prices. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's such a strange conundrum. Both the market and the consumer are what you want to happen comes at the result of long-term damage. Because when you look at the TV, right, we have a big package deal with Comcast in order to get everything, but we only want a few channels because at this point we really don't watch TV very much at all. It's pretty much just our dad. Not even pretty much. It's just our dad.
It's just our dad.
And he only watches, say, 3 channels usually, maybe 5 or 6.
All the sports channels.
Yeah, if he gets crazy, he'll go to the Western channel.
Yeah.
But we could get all those stuff in a package deal for a different service, but we can't cut the cord because one channel isn't available.
One channel that he watches because he only watches 3 shows. Mm-hmm. So those 3 are super important. We have to get all 3 of them.
Yeah, and a big part of that is how you've got Yes Network for the Yankees, but only the Yankees have this channel. You've got Hulu with this set of channels. There was one point there was this weird Sling.
Yeah,
there was Sling.
We tried Sling for a while, and it was good.
And I think we like barely missed when Yes was on Sling, because we were like, Sling doesn't have Yes, let's leave. And then Sling got Yes, but then we were on a contract with Comcast.
Yeah, and like then, once the contract runs out, we'll go back to Sling.
And then Yes leaves again. Yes, and goes back to Comcast.
Man.
But for the convenience of getting the inconvenience of having all the shows split up like that results in the market giving us good prices for each one of these things.
Yeah.
But if we were to get everything on, say, just Comcast would spike the prices, we'd get crappy service, maybe the TV starts crackling every now and again. That's just how it is. Because once they can get away with it, they will.
They will.
Yeah.
And I wanted to bring up how Netflix recently has started cracking down on some things.
Oh, yeah.
Like, between Q1 2020, which is the first quarter of a year, that's what Q stands for, to Q1 of 2022, is declined from a 55% market share to 45% globally in just 2 years. So, from their perspective, they're bleeding cash.
Big.
Yeah.
But for everyone else, it's like, okay, so what if we share passwords? I'm only sharing with 2 or 3 people, but apparently there's some passwords out there that get as big as like 100 or 150 different people, according to Netflix. But I'm sure it happens, But it's just that thing where a corporation exists to make money. As soon as they stop making money, there's a problem. So they need to constantly grow, and at some point, the consumer is going to have to get nickel and dimed.
Yeah. I do remember when I heard about the Netflix losing favor with people. At first I was like, boo-hoo, you're a big company, you've got competition, you're not big fish anymore.
Yeah.
All it means, instead of like doing something like this, cracking down on the consumer, like we need to get more money from the people, why don't you provide more value? Make yourself more valuable and stand out in the crowd. Because I think of Amazon, where it started. I don't remember when Amazon started, but I feel like it brought in something of value to the consumer, and that's why it got so big. I doubt that Amazon is going to remain the only one forever. There's going to be people who will figure out the algorithm and are going to become the next big thing. Maybe not as big as Amazon, but they're going to provide competition. Same for, I had another example in my head and I was gone. But there are other examples of that where it's not going to be forever, and you just have to be ready to innovate. Innovation. And I think of Apple. I think Apple just innovates the heck out of everything. Like they make you crazy with the things they innovate. Like they're taking away the headphone jack and say it's okay, it's for your own good.
It's like, it's for the environment. Buys 50 packages and more accessories than they need.
And all the boxing and the packaging. Anyways, but innovation is important, and I think that'll help these companies. Hopefully they can kind of get smacked in the face and stop doing crazy things to their consumers.
Yeah, and a big part of their announcements of trying to do these things to fix the bleeding has led to more bleeding. Of course. Like in the first quarter of 2022, this year they lost 200,000 subscribers. That is the first time they've ever reported a loss of subscribers. And I can't help
net loss.
A net loss. Wow. And I can't help but wonder if a big part of that has to do with how big they are. Like at a certain point, you just tap the market. I wonder.
So they maybe they started plateauing, or they just peaked.
I'm wondering if they started to peak and they freak out, or they try to stop the bleeding, and in that, then they lose people who are already staying because they were only staying because of the convenience, and now that you've hurt them, now more people leave. I'm wondering if that's what's happening.
Kind of compounding.
And things like Disney Plus and other services, they are getting better. You know?
Oh yeah.
Because I have heard people say things like, I would get rid of my Netflix subscription, but what's his name is using it. So they keep their subscription, but then if they crack down on the sharing, they're like, okay,
so
we're getting rid of it.
Isn't that interesting? So they're doing something that's supposed to get them more money, but in essence is making people who were sharing and only keeping it for that one friend, they're like, no, I guess I can get rid of it now since I can't share it with you. You've given me reason to get rid of it. Wow, they kind of shot themselves in the foot there.
Yeah, it's like if you had like a cool video game and I start playing that video game, it's not like I like the video game and I'm playing the video game, but I wouldn't necessarily go out and buy it. I'm only playing it because you had the video game.
Yeah. So the video game people win because you kept the game, or maybe you got the game because she likes it or something like that.
Yeah, and we literally have that example in action because we have like Steam Family Share.
Oh yeah.
There's games I just don't play on my Steam account that you play.
But we play.
Yeah, but added to that, they expect that in the second quarter they'll have a total loss of 2 million.
Wow.
I can just imagine the CEO is like, okay, so remember that guy who I said was a great idea to do all those changes? Can you call into my office?
I got a word to have with him.
How many other good ideas? But something, just bringing it back to the anime, something I wanted a little interesting conversation about. So, Ranking of Kings is in a very weird spot in terms of tone, where there's a lack of death overall for the main characters so far in situations that most other anime they would have died for sake of the story.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say anyone in particular because it's not the most popular show on our channel, so you may just spoil things for people. So the show feels like a traditional fairy tale, at least to me, but with the flair of realism that without losing the central core of what makes a fairy tale a fairy tale. Like, you know how the Brothers Grimm fairy tales, like, they're really dark if you really think about everything that happens, you know?
Yeah.
But it still has that sense of wonder and almost innocence at the core in a strange way.
Yeah.
And that's Boji. So what do you guys think about the lack of death and how it affects you the way you watch the show? Because personally, I've come to appreciate the storytelling. It took me a second there when I was like, when is someone going to die? Because I'm just used to that happening in the shows.
Yeah, especially since we were watching like Attack on Titan, Re:Zero, Death Note, and all that stuff.
Yeah, and eventually I just got to the point where it's like, okay, this show is this show, and it doesn't need to be like the others because it brings something good to the table. But I was wondering if you guys ever thought about what death brings to a show and how it can change the way a story goes.
Yeah. Well, you know, due to the plethora of anime I've watched, there was kind of like. There's kind of a thing in anime where if you watch a lot of them, you notice that I don't know which writer said this, but there's a really famous writer that says like kill your honeys or something, like kill your sweethearts. Don't be afraid to kill off a character that you really love and made because the story requires it. Like, this person would not survive in this situation that you had to put them in because the story required it.
Yeah.
Don't just circumvent that and retcon it so that they survive. It makes the story better, and you even appreciate the character more if they don't survive.
Yeah.
But a lot of you see a lot of animes are like, and suddenly he's got up with all of his might and willpower. Yeah. You see a lot of that, but a lot of the shows that we're watching now, we don't see that. So I guess we are more used to having the story do what it requires in killing off a character. So when I was watching Boji, I was like in the middle of watching a bunch of other anime, so I was more used to, okay, everybody survives. Yeah. And you guys weren't. So I guess you guys saw that more than I did.
I honestly didn't even notice. I mean, I know we pointed out the fact that we kept having like a lot of almost deaths and resurrections, and it wasn't until you brought it up and I was like, wait a minute, that's true. Wait a minute. But in terms of how I think about it, I personally appreciate that just for the sake of my heart. You know, I don't have to go through that pain. However, I do think I've come to expect that, I won't hate the show if someone was to be killed, because I am used to it from the previous shows we've been watching. I've been conditioned that if the conditions are set, I'm just thinking of Zero,
the other Zero, not Re:Zero,
Zero.
Code Geass.
Yeah, if the conditions are met, then that one must die. You know, I'm ready for it. So every time we've come to a point where someone is dead, I'm like, oh my gosh, but that happened. It had to happen, right? And then it didn't happen apparently, you know. So it's not really. I don't know. I guess I don't think about it deeply enough. You guys think a little bit more about it, but it hasn't negatively affected me in my view of the show. But perhaps it kind of undermines how dark it was, or when it turned dark. Remember, like episode 5, when everything just went metal. Yeah, it kind of undermines that sense of dread. Now you kind of feel like, well, no one's gonna die, you know, and you don't fear it anybody's condition, and no matter what it looks like, and they're like, it's gonna be okay. So you're not gonna feel as maybe attached to characters or afraid for characters, and your emotions might not go with the roller coaster as much. So that's my only concern, I guess.
I guess a reason that I found it different compared to other anime where people don't die is it has extreme body horror.
Yeah.
A lost leg, lost eye, someone's body looks like it might have been skinned or something.
Yeah.
You know, but no death.
No death.
Like, that's the line that doesn't get crossed. And I wonder if there is an overall story. Sorry. I wonder if there's an overall tone that the story is trying to tell. Not tone, sorry. A moral, I guess. Because we had those episodes where, like, we saw the whole nature going through its circle of life. It seems the biggest and most appreciated thing in the show is life itself. And we even have characters that seem to have been punished by trying to circumvent that thing. And I wonder if because of that, mutilation and pain is a part of life, and even that is to be appreciated and smiled at because it means somebody survived.
That's a good point.
Wow, that's deep.
That's real deep. Because I was thinking, and I think your theory here is probably coming from the author. Like maybe it's an intentional, moral he's trying to share. But I think it could also just be the type of person he is, because I was thinking about what you were telling me about how he doesn't like to have a true villain.
Yeah.
So it could extend to the fact that maybe he doesn't want anyone to have to die. He doesn't want to kill anyone. Because if you don't have a true villain or someone who's deserving of death, what's the point of killing them? You know? Everybody he's painted so far has a backstory that makes you go, oh. And now, okay, I'm going to think differently about this one. Even the most evil characters that we've reached so far, I think I can think of one right now that we still need a story for, but you can imagine. We got a little bit of a glimpse for him. And I feel like it could just be the author is not willing to kill anyone because there's no real villain. So it kind of wants to have a happy ending for everyone. We'll have to wait, I think, till the end of this series, but I think that's a good thought to hold on to see if his way of looking at things and painting the story will still work with making everybody win. Is it possible to have everybody win, but keep their lives, and still tell a realistic story or a more morally real story, I don't know.
Yeah, that's an interesting thought. Yeah. I definitely going forward, I'll keep that in mind, and I'll be just watching the characters and see if the tone that has been there before keeps going. But, I'll try to see if the arrow would work. So Mob Psycho Season 3 release date is in fall. Same as everything else.
No!
We're gonna watch 30 series
at once
in fall.
Yes! Oh my goodness. But isn't something supposed to be ending soon? Of our show,
Code Geass.
Code Geass is ending soon.
Yes, but we have a bunch of things with Code Geass to watch though. So.
Are we watching those?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. But they're not a long series though. They're
long.
Separate movies or stuff.
Extra worth of stuff probably.
Okay. Death Note, you said? Is that next?
No.
Is it no?
Oh, it's 50.
It's 36.
36.
And we're in 22. So 12 weeks, 3 months. That takes us to fall.
Oh. Well, it might end in time, and we might just overlap a little bit. I'm just trying to think of shows that will help getting rid of.
Yeah.
Ranking of Kings just has a season. How long is the season? Is it 24?
It's 23, yeah.
Oh, it is. Oh, okay.
23?
Mm-hmm.
That's a random number to pick. I was like, we're not giving you that 24th one. Sorry, guys.
The story is done. Go away.
Go away.
Okay, so yeah, this is gonna be tough. We might end up just having days where we release one in the morning and one in the evening, just to give them a little space to breathe, and people's inboxes, not overflowing them, because we want to stay on top of these shows because we love these shows that are coming, but we don't want to drop these ones that we're currently watching. They're not doing the best, but we like them too.
Yeah,
and we don't want to hurt the people who actually enjoy these series.
Yeah. I mean, I genuinely appreciate every comment.
Yeah.
When I see someone commenting anything about the episode, and what's weird is, it's not that I've started to get numb to the good job comments, but when I see somebody say, hey, that thing in the episode, did you notice that? Or not telling us something, but someone commenting on the way someone acts, I think those are my most appreciated comments because it means that person generally started thinking with us.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah, that's what I was saying, I think, a long time ago, one of our first podcasts. That's one of the things I enjoyed about the comments is when someone is replying to something we said in the discussion. They're talking with us, and it feels like a conversation that way.
Mm-hmm. And the conversations continue because there are many times I read a comment that it spurs a thought and I start talking to them about it, and occasionally I'll tell you guys that. But yeah, I really appreciate those. Yeah. Speaking of which, I'll just make a slight mention. We've been getting a weird amount of spam bots. Oh, really? Guys, please remember, don't ever click a link in the comments.
Don't do it.
I will only ever, if I put a link in the comments, it will be pinned and there will be in the discussion. There won't be a random comment otherwise that you should click on. We don't have any channel moderators. We don't have anybody who we told to say anything. So if you see a link, just remember it is probably a virus. Do not click it.
Don't click it. Don't do it.
Click.
Yeah. Like, you should have been getting used to it, but this is, anime, so sometimes younger viewers come through.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, and this is from the new director of Mob Psycho. So this guy, he was working, the comment himself, what he said is he previously worked as a director, but I'm assuming that what happened is he was like a sub-director, now he's fully running the show. And so he's saying, it's been 3 years since Mob Psycho 100 was animated. I was participating in the last series as a director. This time, I'll be participating in a different position to support Executive Director Tachi Kawa, said the new director. So you see that's a bit confusing?
That's so weird.
But I'd like to make Mob Psycho more interesting and daring, and I will continue to work on the anime for the season without changing the taste of the past. Please wait a little longer until it airs. Please look forward to Mob Psycho 103.
Okay.
Yeah. Otherwise, almost all the old staff is going to be there, so it should be exactly like the old.
Oh, is that...
It's his birthday. The trailer dropped on his birthday.
Oh,
that's cute.
Yeah.
There's a trailer. We gotta watch.
Yeah. That is courtesy of AnimeGeek.com.
Thank you, Anime Geek.
Mm-hmm. And this actually would go right into the fan questions. So right before that, I wanted to ask Rose. Rose, you've been watching anime. You always watch an anime. What anime have you been watching and has any caught your eye? Anything interesting has occurred?
Right now I'm currently watching an anime called what is it called? Karakuri Circus.
Okay.
And it's like 39 episodes long or 36 episodes long. It's a bit of an older anime. But wow, I remember what I said earlier about Kill Your Honeys.
Oh no!
It's like this. The writers suddenly decided that this is the path we're gonna take. They chose violence, and they chose it hard. But yeah, it's a fun anime so far. It's about this young kid. His father dies and he inherits all of his riches and everything.
Wait! Don't tell too much in case somebody wants to watch it.
Just the synopsis, basically. Okay. And suddenly he's being chased by a bunch of people. Who he's like, well, I gotta get out of here, but he also has to carry like this suitcase to somebody named Shirogane because his grandfather, before his grandfather died, he told him, if anything happens to me or your father, take this suitcase and go to Shirogane.
Okay.
Along the way, he meets a giant, really tall, buff guy in a bear costume. Don't ask.
Furries.
No, but the tough guy realizes the kid is being chased, and he decides to protect the kid for a while, and then suddenly lifelong friendships occur, I guess. And then we are suddenly on this roller coaster of I don't even know how to say anything without spoiling it, but it's wow, it is a circus.
It's
a circus. Well, we got a bear.
We got a bear so far. Yeah.
Sounds interesting. Is it heartrending? Well, you did say Killing Honeys.
Yeah.
Yes. It's a weird kind of heartrending in that, like,
it's expected.
I guess so. Like, the tone of it is like nothing is like we're all trying to deal with the cards we've been dealt here.
Okay. So it's kind of like what you're saying before, where the show kind of calls for the death of whoever needs to die at that point. So it's not like an unexpected cells at work black kind of thing that's gonna happen, right? No, that too.
Wow.
It's like it kind of I'm towards the end now, and that's kind of the vibe I'm getting. I'm like, wow, you're just killing everybody. Like even that, like the side characters are the chopping block too. Like wow.
Maybe he's going through something.
Maybe they're going through something.
Is this an old anime?
Older. It's not old.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Is it complete?
I think so. It's a complete. The season at least that I'm watching is complete. I don't know if the story ends.
Oh, got it.
Season ends.
Like you just got cancelled. Like hey, I'll show you cancelled. I'll cancel myself.
That's what it's sounding like to me.
Yeah.
Because I'm concerned.
But yeah, I'm up on episode 32 right now.
Wow.
Out of?
36.
Oh, you're right there, dear. No.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. How would you rate that overall, though, despite those feelings?
So far, should I do it on like a 1 to 10 scale or like a
Whatever you feel more comfortable with.
I'll give it like an 8.5. It's a pretty good anime.
Wow.
It is
Okay.
it is a good anime. Yeah, it's a good. I think you guys would enjoy watching it. Actually,
She would do.
you would get over some of the stuff.
I was gonna say, if
it's
it's ReZero like, is it? Can you? Well, ReZero is kind of high up there, but I mean, is it ReZero like where it's hard, but then you get in if you get attached to the characters, or I mean, you have some sort of tie to want to continue watching.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
That's good.
Mm-hmm. I'm also watching. I just finished watching Osama Ranking. I finally finished.
Well, you did.
Oh.
Finish out the rest of it. Yes.
Congratulations.
Let me just say that
Wait, careful.
it's not about the actual anime.
Okay.
A few episodes come where you're like, what is going on with this animation, and then the other episodes come out, and you're like, oh, they were saving the budget.
Yeah.
It's like, I see. Oh, look at that hair. That's the budget right there.
Interesting.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to that.
Listen, I have flashbacks to friggin' Zodiac.
Zodiac Wars.
Oh, I was thinking
my gosh.
Haikyuu. Haikyuu is the only experience I've ever had, like this drop in animation, and then we're back to normal.
Yeah.
Well, no, that's not the issue. The issue, like, I've seen animes where it drops like that before, but then it peaks out because it's usually a good sign because, like, oh, they're saving up for something.
Yeah.
And, you know, Zodiac War, and listen, maybe this will be controversial because I do not understand how we watched this show. We saw how it just dropped off in random areas where there was just terrible animation and it never paid off. Like, it just, all the way to the end, it was just bad animation. And
it got worse, and and then it switched to CGI,
Yeah.
and then we're like, what is happening?
Like, were they saving up for CGI?
Okay, maybe they thought the CGI is where we're gonna hit it big, and they're like, "Wow, guys, we don't know how to do CGI."
It was bad.
It was bad.
Listen, that's animation. I mean, the story was fantastic, and I loved the resolution. It was a great ending. Don't get me wrong. It's just I've never understood. Boom, like, it's never happened.
They put all of their animation in the 3-episode rule. That's what happened.
Oh, yeah, that's
Oh, really?
Because the first 3 episodes were really good, and then
beautiful.
like episode 4, it was episode 4 and 5. It was kind of average, and then episode 6 was like,
It just
what?
Started with little scenes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like the tiger girl was crawling on the ground, and like the animation for that was like,
Oh,
it was like a doodle.
no.
I was like, what is happening? We like pulled the cursor, we pulled it back and looked at that scene just a couple of times. We're like, is this happening?
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, I can watch an anime with bad like art or whatever. It's just it came out of nowhere, and you expect that shoot back up.
Yeah, it's
It
just
didn't
supposed to
happen.
pay off, but it didn't.
Yeah.
Maybe they intended, and then maybe there was like a big immersion scene, like, oh well, we can't use the budget for what we wanted after all.
Maybe.
Maybe.
That is an anime I really want to come back. I could have sworn I read online that there was supposed to be a season 2.
I thought so too.
It never, or if it did come out, I just never saw it because it wasn't very popular back then.
Wasn't?
It wasn't. Like it just came out. Some people saw it, some people didn't. But it wasn't like, hey, Zodiac War's out, despite how amazing the story was. You know, it just.
Do you think if they were to bring it back, they'd like do a I don't know what you call it, like just redo it or just continue it?
I think they would just continue it.
Oh, well then I wouldn't get into it because I don't want to go through that.
Well, it's not disturbing to the point of like, I can't watch this anime anymore. It's just you notice it and you're like, well, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Perhaps I imparted too strongly how much it affected me. It's just that when I saw it, I noticed it, and it didn't fix, and it was very jarring.
Okay.
But there's another piece of news. So the director of Jujutsu Kaisen has gotten a show by Adult Swim, which is one hell of a swap over.
Yeah.
Adult Swim does pretty much anything and everything. And yeah, they used to have pretty gross shows back in the day, but they do anything.
They do better now.
They help, I think they were helping behind Jen Darsky's Primal, I think. I could be wrong on that. But basically, they have allowed for him to make a new series, which is a futuristic action adventure. He's also the illustrator behind... He has the illustrator behind the cult hit Afro Samurai, who will create characters for the series.
Ooh.
So this is big news because it's showing, some crossover between the worlds, so to speak.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's pretty cool. I guess this was a big door opening, getting Jujutsu Kaisen into theaters and doing so well.
Yeah.
Like, I'm looking at, guys, we went to see Jujutsu Kaisen, and the price of tickets was ridiculous.
Yeah.
And we're, just to put in perspective, we're going to see Doctor Strange, and it's a third the price for the same number of tickets.
On a Saturday.
On a Saturday.
Yeah, we went to see JJK on Monday.
Yeah, it's in the week when it's supposed to have been the worst day for people to come. The theater wasn't that full, so obviously but it was very expensive tickets.
Almost $20 a person, I think, or it actually might have been more.
It was more because it came to almost $100 for the three of us.
For the 3 of us, yeah.
I was like, why are the tickets so expensive? And it was so hard to get a cheaper ticket for our schedule. And I was like, oh my gosh, we gotta just do it. Yeah. Thankfully, we had money in the budget, but this Doctor Strange, which is Marvel, is not half the price for 3 tickets. So it's I don't know.
I wonder if because Marvel has so much market share, they don't need to worry about making their money back, so the price is
They
lower.
know that they'll get lots of people, but Jujutsu Kaisen, they're not sure.
They have to justify their existence.
Right.
That came out bad. Yeah. But yeah, it's interesting to see the crossover.
Yeah.
I think there is still a very untapped market. Don't get me wrong, Crunchyroll is pretty good. But when you think of anime and how professional it is in the East, they're over here working this is a full-time job and everything. Mm-hmm. Over here, you just got, still that feel of almost like an indie company kind of backing them in the West. So I feel like there's a lot of money that's untapped in the West. And I'm not saying that the West wants to be milked, but what I am saying is that there's reach, there's growth here that's not being pushed because people still see anime as a kid thing.
Yeah. I agree. I look forward to the day where I feel like the comic industry in the West fought and clawed to get to where they are.
Yes.
And it could be gatekeepers, or they're no. It could be some rich people, not all rich people, some rich people who have this attitude of pull yourself up by the bootstraps and they don't want to help you financially because you need to make it. Mm-hmm. Or if they help you, it's you're not, it's like giving you a fish and it's not helping you kind of mentality. Maybe they're thinking you're gonna have to claw yourself up I don't know what is my mouth. They have to work harder and do what the comic industry did to get to their status. The comic industry has made it. Marvel, DC, all these people. Mm-hmm. Anime needs to do it too. Yeah. And they don't want to help. But they got their shoe in here, their foot in rather. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I have high hopes for them because I want anime to have a better place in the West, because there's so many people who are into it, but they're seen as nerds and geeks, and they're not looked at the same way as people into Marvel.
They're into comics or anything like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's when someone goes on one of those talk shows, listen, I might be a bit of a nerd, but I like anime. And it was
I'm really?
Yeah.
If I said I like Marvel, sure.
Yeah,
everyone likes Marvel.
It's a comic book.
Yeah.
Well, from
not anime. Yeah, it's so true.
So it's kind of like the idea of, how when, speaking of rich people, when you're lower level, you're poor, or you're middle.
You haven't leveled up yet.
I was thinking of levels. When you're poor and you don't have much, when you're poor, you don't have very much money. Everything's super expensive. Everything costs, and to get anywhere, you have to show you have money. But as soon as you become rich, suddenly, the hotel's no, you can stay here for a day for free.
Yes.
Or you get a free entree of this $100 drink.
Yes.
Suddenly everything opens up.
Yeah.
I think it's like that with the industry, where you need to show that you've got massive capital behind you before they invest in you. Versus there's potential here. We can start drilling. It's like, I can start drilling and there's nothing down there. So they're not gonna...
They don't want to do the risking. They want you to do the risking and show yourself, worthy, kind of, sort of.
Mm-hmm. And now I'll just transition over to some from the fan questions. So this is from Diego Orozco. I believe I previewed this with you so that you could get your brain thinking. Because this had to do with the theory that Rose had about what if... because we know that Ram with her horn in ReZero, speaking about ReZero, so this, you have to have seen all of ReZero to get this. So get out of here or mute it.
Leave.
So Ram with her horn is supposed to be the strongest character in the series, according to the author's rankings. Mm-hmm. Season 1, we know that Roswell's been healing her, and we had that weird scene where he started healing her after he didn't know what to do, and then there's the thought of what if she was intended to be the body that's
the vessel
for
greed
to
be reincarnated by Roswell.
Mm-hmm. And so he was saying, I think that's a good theory, but I think I have an even better theory. As you said, Ram with her horn is one of the strongest characters in the series. Mm-hmm. And in Season 1, Arc 2, there's the one night with Roswell where he's healing Ram, and he said that this is for his ultimate goal to be accomplished. But we also know his ultimate goal is to kill the dragon. So he most likely wants Ram to kill the dragon. Which is simpler, but because it's simpler, I don't want it to be true. I want it to be
I want it to be complicated. Yeah. The theory I came up based off of that theory is that maybe he, I think I kind of mentioned this before. So we know Satella also uses shadow magic because of her torturing Subaru with magic hands and stuff, and also she has that shadowness following her wherever she goes. Likely shadow magic. And she also consumes the world when she comes in person in one of the loops for Subaru.
Yeah.
We also know from Betty, seeing Betty's powers, is that Betty can engulf people into a pocket dimension like she did with the rabbits. So what if... as another preface is Satella, in the legend, it said that Satella consumed the witches. She never killed them. So what if Satella consumed the witches in a pocket dimension, and then after that, the dragon locked away Satella behind the Great Waterfall? Behind the Great Waterfall, or the dragon's behind... Somebody's behind the waterfall. The dragon locked Satella away, and there's a waterfall somewhere. What if Roswell wants to kill the dragon to release Satella so that Satella can then release Greed and everybody else?
I like that.
That's a nice one.
I don't know where the rest of Rem comes in.
Ram has been lost. No. Ram, but you're saying that Roswell wants to kill the dragon, so it could be still going with this guy that Ram is the one to kill the dragon.
Yeah.
But that still seems good for Ram, because personally, the theory, although it's a cool theory and would make the story interesting, if Ram was going to be the vessel for greed, I would be very sad, because I don't want Ram to be bye-bye, So I prefer, although it's more simple, like you're saying, that Ram's the one to do work, to just be a physical person to kill the dragon, be strong enough to do that. Yeah.
It also makes sense why Roswell still made the oath to never do anything to harm any of them, if he really is just healing Ram.
But I don't know. I was saying two different things at once. I can't think of it right now. But then I still don't understand. If his goal is to heal Ram in order to do this thing, then why was he causing so much trouble before for Subaru? Why is he trying to make Subaru into a certain way?
Because it somehow furthers his goal. Mm-hmm. Maybe it also has to
do
with the dragon.
It could just be that it was in the book. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
He has to look like a certain way according to the book.
Yeah. He needed him to be resolute in what he wanted to do. Remember, he's playing a Choose Your Own Adventure game with a walkthrough on the side screen. So he's taking all the choices that make him get to that end goal. So Ram's a part of it, but so was Subaru, so were other things in the book.
Yeah. Yeah. Because for whatever reason, Subaru and Ram are his they're super important to him. because it must be the book. Because the book is the only other thing that is... If the book was a person, the book would also be on that list.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I fully am with you in that Sasla put him in another dimension.
That's a great theory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the wording, I remember, I don't remember if I actually said it.
You did. You said it at one point.
You said it.
Yeah.
No, I mean, like, when they were talking about the stories that she consumed the witches.
Not at the time.
Not
like
time.
after.
Because I was like, why would they say consume? It says anime wordplay
Yeah.
at play and play.
It played.
Everything's important.
Everything's at play.
Yes. Yes.
Very
Chekhov's
interesting.
gun. I remembered it.
Oh, nice.
Hey,
What?
Chekhov's gun.
Okay.
If you see, the thing he explained where if you see the gun in the
Oh,
scene,
is that
it's
what it was
gonna get
called?
used.
No, that was Alekeen's gun.
Alekeen's.
Who's Chekhov?
I have no idea.
Yeah, you're like, good job.
Hey, I thought you remembered something very important to you. And that mattered to me, because I'm your big brother. Oops.
By Will Lopez.
So there's a lot of things. He said there's a lot of things to assume when considering this theory.
Okay.
That's something I dislike, but let's see where it goes. Return by death is a form of time travel. 2. Just assume that Cecila and Emilia are the same person, but Cecila is older. 3. Cecila loves Subaru for some reason. I feel like that's answered if it's Emilia. 4. Echidna sees Subaru's memories. Even when she wears a schoolgirl uniform, she doesn't freak out. OMG Subaru, you're from a different dimension, universe, galaxy, where planes, cars, the internet. The fact that the most curious greed person in the multiverse doesn't really react very well to that at all. The reaction is muted. So why would she act as though she's seen this before?
Interesting. I didn't think about that.
I didn't think about that either.
That is very interesting. But, yeah, because she can see... Did we see, like, mechanical advancement and stuff in his memory? Not much. Not even phones. Did we?
But
We saw indoor plumbing.
Indoor plumbing.
Yeah, we saw enough because she sees his memories.
And she has to recreate the world. Right. So he obviously would have seen these things.
He has a school and he has a clock.
Yeah, that's true.
He has a clock.
That is a good point. And she does not freak out. But then again, it could just mean that she already knew about, other dimensions. Because she's been searching for this knowledge, I don't know how she would have known. It could have just been through Subaru from the past.
Oh, this is cut off. I just realized. 1 second, let me find it. So, I can see in like ReZero season 7, Emilia accidentally warps herself, Subaru, and Beatrice in 410 years ago. They cross paths with Echidna. Echidna, the smart lady, she sees Beatrice and goes, "Oh, I was going to make that spirit next year. Let's see the memory she has and I won't make her. Or I won't make her." Beatrice, Subaru, and Emilius begin to dust, and Subaru is forced to show Echidna his memories. Echidna makes the books, realizes that Emilia is Cecila. Emilia will need to be trapped, and he'll need to convince Emilia to summon him 400 years from now, with Return by Death to make sure they meet again. Very convoluted.
Yeah. Did you catch all that? I caught most of it. And it was
I
very
heard
exciting.
410 years ago.
Basically, Echidna is the reason everything is happening according to the way it's happening. And the reason she knows everything is because Emilia brought them back in time.
You did catch it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But so how does... I guess the part I'm lost in is how does Emilia... Because Emilia is technically Cecily younger. That's what you're saying. Mm-hmm. Okay, so she technically has... But she has ice powers. She doesn't have shadow. But that's assuming... We were assuming she had shadow, so perhaps she doesn't have shadow powers.
Yeah, so it would have to be later revealed.
Yeah. So...
Unless she has both. Dun, dun, dun.
And that's one of the things that make her special.
Yeah, because she has... we know something about her mother and her father. We don't know who those people are.
That's exactly what
we know. She has a mother and a father.
Exactly.
Do we?
Mm.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah.
I mean, I do believe that there's some element of time travel going on here. Like, I'm a strong believer in the theory that it was way earlier that we had talked about that what if Subaru was reincarnated a second time, this is his first time. Because like, I don't know the method it would have gone through, but it would explain some people, like a kid, understanding the other world. Like, I think it was you who said that what if he was in this magical world originally and escaped into the other world via death, and then came back, and in a funny way, returned by death.
Yeah. He returned by death upon death upon death.
Oh my gosh, this is too much for me.
Oh right, we kind of talked about that a little bit in that a Subaru came to this world while it was crossing the street. What if Truck Kun decided to say hello?
Yeah.
So he returned by death into the other world.
Yeah.
And you hear the highway, even though there's nothing there.
Yeah, you do hear a bit of street sounds, even though the street is empty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's supposed to be like,
Yeah, but also, there's one more comment from this that I'd read. It's also about ReZero. So it's Puneet Sharma. He was with us from the very beginning of ReZero, and he's commented on pretty much every video.
Hey.
Nice.
So thank you for that. But he wanted to say, I know what you mean. It's hard to summarize what's so special about ReZero. There's also many videos explaining it properly in one. I will highly recommend video The Point of ReZero by Kevin Nia. It also sheds light on why Emilia is such a great character. She's also pretty misunderstood, although mainly here situation is not relatable to the most of us. Thanks for interacting with us as well, and trust me when I say you're one of the better reactors who put thought in a show and are genuinely interested and honest about shows, not just reacting for the sake of reacting. We love that. ReZero is one of his biggest strengths is also its flaw in the complexity and very hard to digest and understand. Rose's theory is pretty fiery indeed. There's no evidence against it, and more in favor of it so far in the novels.
Ooh. I don't know why we did not rehearse that dance.
Yeah.
This is fun. I think this is fun being on the outside of like a really good anime. Like this is an anime that has a long road to go.
Yeah.
And we can theorize till the sun goes down,
Yeah.
And it's gonna be exciting to see it unfold. What I'm thinking about is like years from now, like when we're on season 10, we go back and say, let's see what React City thought back in season 2.
Once we get to like season, I don't know, like season 5 or 6 or 7, I don't know, one of them, we should like make a compilation of all of the theories we had.
And then we can compare it to what actually happens. That's going to be so hard, making that video. Don't worry, you don't have to do it. We'll hire an editor at that point. It's like, just scour the channel for these videos. You put them together.
Yeah. It's funny that it's been, at the point of these comments, this was 3-4 weeks out from the end of ReZero, so it just shows how dedicated the fan base is, and how many of our fans are from ReZero.
Yes.
Who came over,
Yes.
And yeah, I hope that we see a show that interests them more. Like, if we started watching a new show, that it'll pick up for their interest as well. Yeah. Because I do enjoy speaking with people who are very interested in that kind of thing. Like, some of those commenters that we've had for a while, I go back to like years ago on other people's channels for reaction channel. They're there. They're in all the reaction channels. Wow. Very dedicated fan base.
Yes. That's also one of the cool things. By the way, if you're not aware, we do Discord chats. I know we throw it out there in our conversations sometimes, but we do Discord chats we try to do 2 shows a week. We just finished ReZero. ReZero was the one we used to do Discord chats on. Mm-hmm. And we had some real awesome ReZero fans to talk about. And like Underground Kings would come with the novel and be like, this is what it said.
He's like, here's an excerpt from chapter
yes.
part
And it was great because it would give us insight that we would never get in anime.
Yeah.
Or we don't expect to get. Maybe we will. To get someone who can just kind of pull it out for us. So we like to interact with people who are so dedicated to the anime. So if you ever feel like you want to, jump into the chats, we are currently doing Code Geass on Tuesdays. And we're starting Hunter x Hunter. When this comes out on YouTube, it's going to already be started on Thursday, replacing ReZero. So check it out.
Some of the regulars, Steven, right now we've got Irelia,
I think.
Irelia, something like that.
I think it's Irelia.
Amaryllis.
Mr. 9 out 10. Mr. I'm 10.
Ave Maria.
Okay, Ave Maria.
But yeah, it's cool if we don't catch everybody. But the general idea is that, we do remember you guys. And it's very fun to have those conversations. Even if no one's there, we will still have those conversations.
Yeah, we talk with each other. And we always have things to say.
Yeah.
We never run out of things to say.
Yeah, and lurkers, you're fine to just chill there and watch.
If you just want to be a part of the conversation, but not.
Or jump in whatever.
Yeah. That's cool too.
Yeah, we just want to have an open forum kind of day where we talk about the show. Of course, no spoilers. But the idea is just to kind of get a feel of how people feel about the episode or felt about the episode when you saw it the first time. But yeah, so I think that is everything.
Yeah.
So guys, thank you guys very much for being here. Guys, if you liked your time here, please leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more. And the Patreon is there if you guys want to see these as soon as they come out. They come out like one day after we do them on Saturday. But either way, thank you very much for being here. And we'll see you in the city. Goodbye.
Bye.